Welcome back to this video. Today we are going to discuss about the human respiratory structures and also its adaptation to ensure that there is an efficient gaseous exchange. So this is included in your Form 4 Chapter 8 Part 2. And in the last video we actually discussed about the animal respiratory structures and also their adaptations. So the outline of today's lessons is that we're going to learn about what is the human respiratory structures and what are their adaptations and how do we compare and contrast the respiratory structures in humans and also animals. Okay, so what is the human respiratory structures? The gaseous exchange takes place in the alveolus that is found in the lungs, okay? And a large number of the alveoli provides a large total surface area, which is to ensure the diffusion of the respiratory gases in a more effective way. And the second adaptation is that our alveolus wall or the alveoli wall are always moist, okay, are always moist. This is to ensure that the oxygen and carbon dioxide can dissolve easily in a moist alveolus. And this allows the gases to diffuse through the walls into the blood capillaries in a faster rate. So there will be a more efficient gaseous exchange. And the next adaptation for a more efficient gaseous exchange is that the alveolus is surrounded by a large network of the blood capillaries. And also, lastly, the alveolus wall is also very thin. And how thin is it? It's one cell thick, okay? This is to make the diffusion of the gases much easier when we have a thin alveolus wall. So these are the four very important adaptation for our human respiratory structures to ensure a very efficient gaseous exchange, okay? All right, then let us compare and contrast about the respiratory structures in human and also animals. So first about the similarities. So what are the similarities between a human and also animal and respiratory structures? Okay, you have to know that in general the respiratory structures adaptations in humans and also in animals are almost the same. Okay, for example, all respiratory structures in animals and humans, they have a large ratio to a total surface area to volume. Okay, a large ratio of the TSA per V ratio. And secondly, all the respiratory structures, they are thin, okay? This is to make the diffusion of the respiratory gases much faster. So in the alveolus in the human is very thin, and also in the gills filaments of the fish, they are thin as well. And all the respiratory structures are moist, okay? This is to make sure that the respiratory gases to dissolve in them, and then the gaseous exchange can happen very fast, okay? So the alveoli wall in the humans are moist, and also, for example, like the skin of the frog, for the gaseous exchange are moist as well. So next, the respiratory structures is rich with a network of the blood capillaries. This is applicable for all humans and also most of the animals except for insects, okay, for these features of the rich blood capillaries. All right, then we talk about the differences between animals and also the humans in terms of the respiratory structures. So for example, the insects, they're going to use the tracheals for respiration, and a fish is going to be filament and also lamella, and also the frogs other can be skin or even the lungs, okay? Skin during the inactive movement and also the lungs during an active movement. And humans, as we mentioned just now, is in the alveolus in the lungs, okay? And the characteristic in terms of the large ratio to the total surface area to volume ratio, okay? So the insects, how they ensure that there's a large ratio of the total surface area to volume for the respiratory structures is that the insects in the tracheal system, they have a large numbers of the tracheals, and in the fish, they have a large numbers of the filaments and also lamella. And also for the frogs, the surface in the lungs of the frogs is folded. This ensures that there's a large ratio of the total surface area to volume in the frogs, okay? And also the overall skin surface also make sure that the frogs is having a large ratio of the TSA to volume ratio. And lastly, for humans, we have a large number of alveoli to ensure that we have a large ratio of the total surface area to volume. So these general features, they are similar, but What make them different is that in terms of the respiratory structures, and also the large number of the different respiratory structures. Okay, so to recap this video, we actually learn on what is the human respiratory structures, which is the alveoli in the lungs, and what are their adaptation, the four adaptations of the human alveoli to make sure that we have very efficient gaseous exchange. And also lastly, we also learn on how to compare and contrast the respiratory structures in the humans and animals. So this we should always describe, compare and contrast in similarities and also in differences. Okay. All right. So that's all for today's video. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.